Access granted.
Subject: interview with Kerry Vandenberg. Body: on 12/1/2023, Christopher McLeod, aka Diagnostic80, was tasked with the mission of interviewing Maple Powered Games lead designer Kerry Vandenberg about their work on the recently revealed G.I. Joe Wrath of Cobra video game. Here's what we could show you from that G14 classified recording.
Access granted.
Hello and welcome to the Full Force Redacted, brought to you by Generals Joe's Reborn.com with me, Christopher McLeod, aka Diagnostic80. On the show today, we have lead designer for Maple Powered Games and one of the main forces behind the upcoming G.I. Joe Wrath of Cobra video game, Kerry Vandenberg. Kerry, thank you so much for coming on the show today. How are you doing?
Oh, thanks for having me. I'm doing great.
I love your background. That's so good. I'm gonna have to get you in full screen so much on this video just to show off that wonderful artwork. That's great. Fantastic.
I can switch it out with a few other shots.
Oh, nice. Yeah, as we go, that'd be awesome. And that's Cobra Island behind us, I believe. Behind you, I believe, right, from the game.
Yeah, absolutely. Can't make a G.I. Joe game without Cobra Island. Am I right?
Yeah, absolutely. We'll be talking a little bit about your kind of design aesthetic as well later in the interview. But let's start. I would say, like, not the very beginning. You know, I know we all get born and all that kind of stuff, but not too long ago, we had a very fun trailer drop for the Wrath of Cobra video game, and it kind of set the Joe internet ablaze with excitement. It certainly set us ablaze with excitement. I think a lot of fans have wanted to see G.I. Joe in this style for a really long time, and it just looks like so much fun. Firstly, though, how did this particular idea come about? Was it a pitch to Hasbro, or did they approach you guys?
It was a pitch to Hasbro. Like most of the community, I thought the same. Like, this is a game that should have been made a long time ago.
Big time.
And when we contacted Hasbro, they completely agreed with us right off the bat, so
nice.
It was great.
Nice.
They had also said that they wanted this game for a while. We sent them some mock-ups and some concepts, and they just loved it and have been loving it the whole time. We are very, very detail-oriented.
Yeah.
So we've been modeling all the characters off of 360-degree models of all the classic figures. You know, Hasbro supplied us with all of their material so that we can make it as accurate as possible. We take almost like no deviations.
Wow, awesome.
Which is, and even when we did the cutscene for the trailer, we were very, very specific with how we did the animation to make it look as authentic as possible.
Yeah, it looks so good, and also I like it's kind of got that crossover vibe of the kind of arcade style from, like, you know, the 80s and 90s and stuff. That kind of side-scrolling aspect as well, but all in that very kind of similar vibe, but with the G.I. Joe kind of infused into it. It just works so well. I mean, has this been something you guys have been developing for a long period of time? Is this something you've been on the go way before the pitch happened?
Yes, we had been working. Well, we first talked to Hasbro about doing it, but we had been wanting to do a beat 'em up game, and we said, I really hope we get G.I. Joe.
Yeah.
And we did. We have been working a bit behind the scenes with some members of Guard Crush who did Streets of Rage 4. So
nice.
We had that in mind a lot. And so the game probably wouldn't exist without their help also. So we have to give them a shout out. And
awesome.
The reason we thought it meshed perfectly with the series is because when you watch the classic show, the most high action shots are up close and personal. So we kind of thought, you know, this is perfect because you've got the large scale battles in the background, and then you've got our heroes and Cobra right up close and personal.
Yeah, it's so good. I love it. And again, like it evokes so many like cool memories of like arcade games from the past. And, you know, like I was a huge fan of Turtles. I used to love the Turtles arcade game. And obviously, you know, like, and then obviously on the SNES, I would play Turtles in Time all the time as well. But then, like, there's so many there's so many things, like playing those games and being a massive G.I. Joe fan. Like, it's no surprise that Hasbro were also very like, oh yeah, this should have happened years ago. Why we're doing it now? That's great. Are you surprised it's taken this long for a game like this to kind of really happen for Joe?
Yes. I mean, it seems obvious now.
Yeah.
And there should be this game and a lot more, or just as much content as we can keep adding to this game as for as long as possible.
Yeah.
But it's a perfect fit, and I don't know why they didn't do it back in the 80s or the early 90s.
Yeah, it seems like a missed opportunity back then, but no, it's an opportunity for you guys right now.
Better late than never.
Exactly. Are you a fan of the brand personally? That was a question I wanted to ask you. Is it something that, like, you as an individual, like, you know, did you kind of collect Joe as a kid? Is it something that's like strong in your background?
Oh yeah, if you mean asking my parents to get them for me for Christmas, collecting.
Yeah, you're not going out and on your own and buying them, no. But yeah,
No.
getting your folks. Yeah, totally. So yeah, that's great. So that I suppose, yeah, like you say, that must have been really exciting for you then to know that you'd be getting the GI Joe license then.
Yeah, the thing with GI Joe is there's so many characters, and we have a large roster of enemies and 6 playable characters, but there's just so many, and we want to add as many as we can with DLC. Probably keep going.
Oh,
I was
great.
joking with the team that, at some point it's probably gonna be like 36 playable characters or something. If we keep adding like one a month, we'll just keep going.
That's great. I keep them coming. Are you? Is there also a plan to playable Cobra characters? Is that something that like would work with this particular game like situation, or would that require some sort of sequel down the line? Do you think?
Not at launch, but we were talking with Hasbro quite a bit about it, and they're very open to doing all kinds of downloadable content.
Nice.
We did talk to them about maybe doing like a non-canon DLC where you play as Cobra and they actually win for once.
That would be so weird. That would be so weird having Cobra win.
Well, all of the way that we've done the art for the bosses is we're inspired by Mega Man a little bit, or Shovel Knight, where the bosses, we keep their silhouettes the same. Normally in a beat 'em up, you'd have a big huge boss, and we have some of those also, but we were very specific to keep all the Cobra characters the same size, so you could play exactly as those bosses.
That's cool. And in that case, I was something, yeah, because obviously that just reminded me of when you fight Bebop and Rocksteady in that first level on Turtles, and they're like massive. Yeah, the design with the style and design that you kind of gone with, is this something that you? Is this something that you guys developed over a period of time? Is this something that you like knew you wanted to do? Like you knew you wanted it to look this way, to have that kind of cartoony, kind of like fun vibe? Is that like something that was always on deck for this particular game?
Well, we're really big pixel art fans. It's all we do, and we're very specific with our pixel art. What we tried to do is we tried to imagine, like we did with the trailer cutscenes also.
Yeah.
We said, what would sort of, if they had a bigger budget, like the difference in the animation quality between the movie and the series, what would that jump look like? But from like if there had been a Sega or a Super Nintendo game, but then they had gone all in on it, and that was kind of the bar we set for it.
Oh, nice! That's really cool. And kind of coming back to the bosses, that's something I wanted to actually ask you really quickly. We've seen footage very recently from a PC Gamer video that popped up there for their Most Wanted. So first off, you're in their Most Wanted. That's pretty cool. But secondly, obviously we had Major Blood, we had Dr. Mindbender show up in those kind of scenes as well. That's really fun. Are we going to be seeing a lot more Cobra like bosses like that? Are they end level bosses or in that kind of situation, or do they pop up all over the place?
So they're mostly used as end bosses for
Right.
each level. We do mix it up a little bit, which is part of the plot, but people will have to play it to see.
Yeah. So there's no like you haven't really gone into detail on what the actual plot of the game is yet. There's only a little press release, I believe. Is that correct? That's out at the moment.
Yes, I can share a few details with you. It
Okay,
does
cool.
revolve around the use of the mass device,
That's
which
awesome.
is iconic from the series, and we kind of expanded on that. So we did create a few new original enemies, including ones that can use the mass device on a small scale.
Awesome. They've got like little mini mass device kind of transport sort of things. Is that
Pretty
how it is?
much.
Oh, that's cool, man. I like that idea. Speaking of again, like the bad guys and stuff, there are so many. It looks like different troops that you've got in here. So you've obviously got the trooper, and then like lots of variations on a theme going, right? Just like the GI Joe brand does.
Yes, there's a lot, and it was really hard to cut down to what would be the favorites, and
Right.
we get a lot of suggestions from the community for they want to see this character, that character, and couldn't fit all of them in, but we did do, I think, a very, very good job. Yeah, there's quite a lot, and pretty much everyone's all the big favorites
Nice.
we got in, and we did base them off of the toy line, so
That's amazing.
they're a little different than in the series.
That's amazing. I'm so excited to see all of the characters in this game. I swear. How big is the game in terms of like levels and stuff like that? Is it like, how many levels are we talking? Is it is it a long term kind of game, or can you get this done in like a few hours? Do you reckon?
You could probably do if you're just trying to blast through
Oh
it.
right, yeah, the speed run.
Your speed run, you could probably get through it pretty quick, but it is designed with a lot of replayability in mind.
Yeah,
One of the reasons that we chose the character roster that we did is we aim to have the characters feel very different from each other.
right,
So, you've got your faster characters like Snake Eyes, and you've got your slower characters like Roadblock, and their specials are all very, very unique.
yeah,
And then on top of that, there are multiple game modes. So right now we're just working on adding in arcade mode, which kind of has where you use the special, it depletes your health, and some people like that, some people don't like that,
you're
but
right.
that we so much going on in the game that you can kind of just pick and choose as you like.
That's great. That's awesome. I know you've got like the lineup at the moment. Was it Snake Eyes, Roadblock, Scarlet, Duke, Gung Ho, and Ripcord? Is that correct?
That's correct.
And then, like you said, there might be additions to that playable roster with downloadable content in the future.
Yes, so we already have like a list of our favorites, and and then we get a lot of suggestions too. So we run those up the list, and I'd like to do a few, and if we can, maybe some free day one
Oh, that'd be
extra
cool.
characters.
That'd be really cool, man.
Um,
Yeah. The backgrounds. Let's talk about the backgrounds because actually they're really fun. Like one of them behind you right now is really awesome. But in terms of like watching the footage and all of the really cool like gameplay and everything on all the videos we've had recently, there is some amazing looking backgrounds. Have you had fun like packing all of like the homage and stuff in the background? Because obviously there's going to be the few little nods to the series. I'm guessing.
yes. So we put in Easter eggs for everyone that we work with, and then we put a lot of GI Joe specific Easter eggs too. Like my name or my nickname VDB is written into one of the levels.
I think I saw that. I think I saw that on one of the screenshots I was looking at the other day. That's cool. Now I know what it is.
And we've got Guard Crush's logo in there. We've got some of the original creators' names appearing in the background as store names.
Oh, nice.
There's a lot going on in the background, and then one of the levels is kind of an homage to Cobra, which people really like, I think.
That's fantastic, man. Like I swear, like all of the images like I keep getting or seeing or getting sent or watching on this, everything looks so cool and so much fun. It's definitely one of those. It's definitely one of those ones. I think, yeah. When you said you've kind of designed it with that kind of replayability in mind, I think that's something that like a lot of games that GI Joe have had in the last 10, 15 years, say even. Doesn't really, they don't really have that. Like, they don't really have that. You go back and want to play it again. I've got a feeling, yeah, with this one, you're going to want to play with all those characters, and then obviously, like you say, with more downloadable content and stuff like that. Would DLC, and again, like obviously, you don't have to say what it is, but is there a thought to maybe expanding the game with DLC, like in terms of level expansions, or is that something that would actually have to come with a kind of sequel if there was going to be one?
So it was our plan to just, if this is the only game I can work on for the rest of my life, that's fine with me.
Yeah.
We'll just keep adding and adding, and I don't think we'll run out of ideas.
Have you thought of, because obviously it looks to me like the game is a completely side-scrolling situation, isn't it? Like there isn't any kind of in some games you get like a different mission or a different kind of like level might have you in a different perspective. Is there any? Does that happen in the game at all?
So it's all a 2D belt scroller style.
Yeah.
But we do mix it up a little bit, but
Okay.
not in terms of perspective.
Right.
But the game
Okay.
has changed a bit in
Okay.
some of the areas.
You know what I
And
mean,
there
though,
are-
right? Because sometimes they'll be like, you'll be looking at something like and again, I'm thinking of Turtles again, and you're like from the perspective, I think, of like Shredder as he's looking at the Turtles, and they're throwing the foot soldiers at the screen, sort of thing. I was wondering if there was anything like that going on.
One of the DLC ideas was we do have vehicles in the game.
Oh,
They show up mostly as bosses that you fight or background set pieces. But I would like to as a downloadable content. I mean, there's no reason you can't do something like Galaga up.
oh yeah, totally. That'd be so much fun. Yeah, just like from above. That'd be so good. It's so cool talking to you about this, mate. Because again, like I'm so I don't know. I think it's the multiple nostalgia points kind of coming together and making me really excited for this game. And like you mentioned, vehicles. I'm looking at a screenshot right now, which has got the Hiss tank flying in from the side and shooting its lasers and everything. I'm guessing that's from a boss kind of scene. Is that like the
Yes. Well, we consider it a mini boss, but we liked it so much we kind of overdid it maybe, and it's all over the place now.
Is it Streets of Rage or Final Fight where they call in like the police and they come in and they fire a rocket and then get back in the car and drive off?
But that would be Streets of Rage.
That's Streets of Rage, isn't it? I just had that vivid imagery when we're talking vehicles. Does that happen? Do the vamps come in and do things like that? Do you have like other vehicles in for the Joe team, like utilized as like special attacks and things like that?
Yes, specifically Duke's special attacks in the air.
Oh, cool.
Airstrike.
And yeah, because I've seen the bombs kind of coming down and everything. Yeah.
Mhm.
So do you see anything fly over? Or is it just the bombs that fall down, sort of thing?
I might have to add that in now that you mentioned that.
Do it all again. Start again, guys, from the beginning.
Start it over from scratch.
Just to get like the bottom of a Sky Striker to kind of like skim the. No, that would be really cool, though.
Well, we take all the ideas the community throws at us. Sometimes some of the fans will be, I'm, a little apprehensive about asking for something, and
That's great.
G.I. Joe kind of belongs to all of us, so
That's great.
if you want it, let's throw it in.
That's fantastic. I wanted to ask you, Kerry, what would be, and you obviously this doesn't have to give anything away necessarily, but from your personal, enjoyment of the brand and your own kind of personal point of view, what is a character you would love to see in the game that isn't in the game? Like just one character.
Shipwreck.
Oh, mate, that would be so good. Would Polly be?
Oh yeah.
Oh
yeah.
Oh wow. I would. That's good. Oh,
But he's very high on the DLC list, which I'm trying to make sure I don't bias it all just towards my own personal faith.
no, Shipwreck would be great, especially like because that actually brings me to that question. Another question that popped up just now. Snake Eyes has Timber in the game, doesn't he? In some kind of situations, is that like is that a special attack or is he with him most of the time?
So that is his special move. Some of the Hasbro guys joked about making Timber just a playable character.
That would be so good.
We probably could. Maybe it's like the ultimate unlock.
That'd be so. I'd be well up for that. Could you imagine being like, you get all the animals. You could have Polly as a playable character. That'd be brilliant. Saying stuff every time with a little comic kind of like bubble net. Like every time she said something, that'd be so fun.
We're sort of the opinion that throw as much as we can into it and let people play it their way.
Yeah, totally.
We do have a system that should probably be in more games. We have these things that modify gameplay called mixers.
Yeah.
Like one of the most popular mods for Streets of Rage was an enemy shuffle.
Okay.
And I did ask those guys, I'm like, why didn't you guys ever like incorporate that in? And they said, well, the community made it, so we didn't have to. I'm like, well, if people are going to make this stuff anyway, we might as well just throw it in at launch.
And like an enemy shuffle would make it so that every time you played a level, you'd be fighting a different boss the same level with a different boss each time. Is that what you're getting at with that one?
So they're like customizable toggles. So we've got shuffle by enemy type,
Okay.
um, and then shuffle boss by type, and then also shuffle the items.
Okay. Right.
So
Okay.
you can turn on whatever you want. We've got one that just doubles the amount of enemies if you want.
Oh wow.
Because we did a stress test that I shared on the Discord community where we've got explosive specialist troopers, and they throw these bombs, and we got like 150 of them on screen throwing 150 bombs, and
Wow. Was it just
so
that just sounds like our channel, which we just use explosions for everything. But that would be, was it just one big explosion on screen then pretty much?
it was just constant little ones, and I was playing as Duke, and I lost track of where he was.
That's like a Where's War.
I'll send you the clip for that though.
That's great. Thank you so much. Yeah, well, I'll put that in the background while it's happening. Fantastic. Let's talk about the basics before we kind of finish the interview. When can we expect the game? I've seen Q1 2024. Is that still on track for that?
Still on track. I think it's kind of dependent on because we're mostly through the brunt of the work of the game.
Yeah.
And it's just about sneaking in some extra features and when we want to release it now.
putting the Sarge in, putting the Sky Striker in, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. And also, yeah, what the consoles and formats? What's it going to be available on?
So right now it's simultaneous releases planned for PC and Nintendo Switch.
Nice.
But then we would like to do Xbox and PlayStation afterwards, probably shortly afterwards.
Yeah.
And there's been some interest in the community on Mac and Linux support, and I think we should be able to do those pretty easily.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah. So I can play it at work, is what you're saying. That's great.
Maybe eventually mobile, but that one's like, you have to redo all the controls.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
we'll have to figure that one out.
Yeah, that'd be a lot of recoding, rework. Yeah,
that one's the big one. That one's the big one.
Would it be like a side-scrolling kind of situation like that, where you've got the controls on the screen and stuff like that?
Yeah. Or if you've got a better idea, I'll take it.
I can't think of anything honestly. That's on. I mean, my phone, the kind of the plus seems to be like a good size for that kind of stuff. But
it might be cool to almost do it where the main player was like an AI character, and then you could maybe support him. Or if we could just add that as another mode to the main game.
That'd be kind of fun. Yeah, totally. Well, this has been great, Kerry. I've had an absolute blast chatting with you about this. Really excited for this game. I can't tell you how much it is. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you guys are really excited. How big is the team at Maple Powered Games? How many of you are there?
Oh, it started pretty small, but now there's tons of us all over the place. I guess I'd say people who work on it, like we have all of Kid Katana, which is the sound studio that also worked on Shredder's Revenge.
Yes.
They're helping us out, and there are tons. We've got T. Lopes. He's in on our Discord channels too, and then we've got some multiplayer people. I think maybe 8 people that work on it every day. But then there's like 30 people from the publisher, and
wow.
the credits list is going to be very long.
Wow, that's really cool, man. And I'm so happy that you managed to get G.I. Joe. I'm so happy for this game, mate, and I can't wait for it to come out. Seriously, I've got a Switch, so it's going to be on that immediately. Like I'm not playing at all.
I don't actually own a Switch, and one of our guys who works for us has to send us videos of him playing it.
Oh, mate, that's hilarious.
I will pick it up for this though.
Yeah, you have to.
It's been the most fun game that I've ever worked on, which is nice.
That's great.
So some games are like a lot of math and number crunching, and this one is actually just play it and test it over and over again.
That's
I'm like, okay,
that's awesome. Brilliant. Thank you so much, Kerry, for joining me, mate. It's been an absolute pleasure. Like I said, Q1 2024 is where is the aim.
Definitely somewhere around there.
somewhere in that Q1.
When it's ready, right?
Yeah, absolutely. But it looks great. Congratulations on, so far, from what I've seen so far, congratulations on making a very fun looking little game, and I can't wait to get involved. And I'm probably not the only one. I'm sure the fandom are buzzing about this as well. I'll be talking with my co-host Pat on the weekly in an hour or so. about this very game, because obviously we'll be talking about the video that popped up for PC Gamer. So yeah, thank you so much for jumping on, bud. It's been a pleasure. That brings us to the end of the interview. Kerry, thank you so much for coming on and speaking to me about The Wrath of Cobra. Can't wait to play it, and I wish you all the luck with the release. I hope you've had a good time. We'd love to have you back on in the future, if you're interested, of course.
Oh yeah, I'd love to be back anytime.
Let's when the game comes out, and I've played like 1 minute of it and been really crap, because I game a lot, but I'm crap at gaming. It's hilarious. I love gaming, but I'm not good at it. Do you know what I mean?
The weird thing is so we have like a closed alpha test right now, and like everyone who plays it is better than me at it. They're all like, make it harder, and I'm like,
this is my level.
How are you? Yeah, I know where everyone's gonna come out and what order it's gonna come out.
It's like being able to read the future, and you still can't beat. Mate, I played Contra for the first time in years when I got one of the emulators. I got one of the little, the ones they were doing, like the little in store kind of mini consoles. And I played Contra for the first time in years. It took me 2 hours to get past level 1. That's how bad I am at games. But I'm going to be loving this one, mate. And I can't wait for it. So that's it for this installment of the Full Force Redacted. Thank you to my wonderful guest, Kerry Vandenberg. See you next time. I didn't tell you this before, Kerry, but you have to say full force at the end. Are you cool with that?
Oh yeah.
Okay,
full
good.
Force.
Yeah, that'll do. After 3, 1, 2, 3, full force. Perfect.
Access granted.
Make sure you get involved with the discussion by liking, sharing and commenting on these videos, and as always you can keep up with the show after listening by following on X, formerly Twitter, @The Full Force, liking the Facebook page, facebook.com/The Full Force. We've also added a brand new Instagram, so check us out there as well, @The Full Force Podcast. And if you would like to contact the show, you can message us on any of those platforms with feedback and questions. We also have a Patreon page, so if you want to show your support for the show, see your name up in lights on these videos, or enjoy exclusive bonus content, then check out patreon.com/The Full Force Podcast, or click on the link on any of the posts this podcast appears in. Full Force.
Access granted.